Hello, Bryan.
Oren, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What actually encouraged you to participate in the FOM event and share your knowledge with others?
That's an easy one. It's all about collaboration. I think that no one organization or individual has all the answers. It clearly is about sharing best practices. The obsolescence challenge will become greater. We all know what's going on in the semiconductor industry in particular with the mergers and acquisition, and I think we can expect a wave of obsolescence. And so collaboration is key, and that's why I'm here.
Why do you think obsolescence becomes such a hot topic these days?
Well, obsolescence drives cost and it drives risk. You know, the ability to keep up with the changes in bills of materials, the lack of notice or short notice, the cost of being able to, of stopping production or having to redesign because you can't find obsolete parts, or then the risk that you inject into your supply chain by going into the open market is enormous. And so obsolescence has to be a critical component of any supply chain plan, particularly if you're in the military business or telecom business or medical business where cost of certification and product life is so long. Obsolescence has to be a proactive part of the cost and management plan.
So you've touched the open market. So what do you think is the best practice to work effectively with the open market, and how would you measure your partners?
It's a good question. You know, I've spent 30 years in the electronics industry. I spent many years at a global distributor. I'm now with a contract manufacturer, MPI in Connecticut, and I have first line experience with this. The reality is that we all know the first choice is buy from the original OEM or for franchise distribution, but of course, Oren, as you've said, the reality is that you must go into the open market from time to time to combat obsolescence and increasingly lead time. The critical component there is qualifying folks that you trust, understanding how they procure, and then in my opinion also is using a third party for that screening and test evaluation. I think that any supplier, any player in the supply chain needs to provide visibility as to what they're doing as they insert risk in the supply chain. So best practice is that when you have to go to the open market, one should have the express written approval of the end customer as well as notification that there's been an injection of risk in the supply chain, and then spend the money up front to do as deep of a validation on that procurement as you can, including destructing samples, including doing the research. And it's not good enough to do visual inspection anymore. The risks are too great. The cloners have gotten too good. The visual inspection and even some of the functional tests aren't good enough. And so I think that spending the money on partners that actually validate that open market procurement is what it says it is critical, and we shouldn't be penny wise, pound foolish there.
What part do you think innovation should play in the obsolescence management and our fight against counterfeit components?
Well, I will tell you today that we heard a very important development, in my opinion, of using some automation and using some tools that are based upon data from global procurement from a key distributor, and using that data to understand where your risk is. If you're the only customer that buys that part, or if you're one of 3 customers that buy that part, boy, there's a risk there. And so I think innovation in the area of automated data analysis, partnering with companies that have access to global usage data, is a key innovation that needs to be deployed in any supply chain where you're sustaining product lines for decades at a time.
So going back to FOM, how do you see the importance of having such a community come together to share ideas and best practices?
I think it's critical. I said at the top that collaboration is key. Nobody has all of the answers. And listen, for many years, obsolescence, the risk of counterfeit in supply chain was seen as a dirty little secret, was seen as dirty laundry. And so I think it's taken time for OEMs and partners to come and share their experiences where they've made mistakes and then have had to overcome those. So this venue where folks can come together with common challenges from multiple industries and multiple points in the supply chain, there's just no replacement for that kind of collaboration across industries and within the various members of the supply chain. There's no replacement for that idea generation. The point I made a moment ago about the learning that I just had an hour ago of some of the new databases that may be available to leverage global usage on a part number level for then me to evaluate my risk on my supply chain is an enormous leverage for me to then come back and think about in my company about how we go and then build upon that technique.
It's a game changer, isn't it?
Game changer.
So where are we going from here? How do you see the future of obsolescence? What lays ahead, and what would be your hopes and fears?
Well, I think that the future of obsolescence is one of great concern. I think that the ability to receive timely notification as a result of the consolidation of product lines and divisions and companies, particularly in the semiconductor industry that we're going to see in the coming months and quarters, is real. And then my biggest fear is the quality of the counterfeiters, what we might call cloners, what we might call even in a legitimate semiconductor industry in other parts of the world, that then are rebranding for their own market purposes products that actually work, but they're not the true product, that might behave differently over time and under pressure and at temperature. The cloning, the quality of the cloning that then becomes counterfeited, rebranded product that is excellent quality is very difficult to detect. It's the most insidious threat I think we face moving forward, is combating the quality of the cloning of rebranded and misrepresented product moving forward.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.